Thank you. Deputy
McDonald.
McDonald, sorry. I have people in my ears.
That's all right.
Sorry, Deputy.
Good morning, Ceann Corla. Of course, we could get the information from Deputy Gilmore on Taoiseach if he was here. I understand that the Taoiseach told us earlier that he was in Galway. I find it extraordinary, given this turn of events and given the fact that a senior cabinet minister has resigned, that the Taoiseach would not be here. But I'll come back to that. You took the opportunity earlier, Minister, to extol the virtues of Alan Shatter and his ministerial career. In fact, if you didn't know any better, listening to your script, you'd wonder why on earth it was that Alan Shatter had in fact felt the need to resign. We know that Mr. Shatter resigned yesterday not because he accepted that he had faltered or done anything wrong, not because he, or for that matter the Taoiseach, it seems, accepts the criticisms contained in the Guerin report. He resigned to save Fine Gael and Labour's bacon from further damage in the upcoming election. So he made essentially a party political decision. Former Minister Shatter stood and stands aloof, denying any culpability on his part. He doesn't accept any responsibility for the succession of debacles that have faced the policing and justice system in recent times. No responsibility for the appalling treatment of the whistleblowers. No responsibility for the appalling treatment of GSOC. No responsibility for the mishandling of the bugging controversy in Garda stations. No responsibility for the collapse in Garda morale and public confidence in the administration of justice. But then why should he? When the Taoiseach and the Taoiseach and the Cabinet and the backbenches of Fine Gael and the Labour Party have defended his actions in this Dáil and in the media.
Thank you.
So, you tell us that Eamon Gilmore knew of these events mid-afternoon. He certainly didn't know about it at lunchtime, and your colleague Joan Burton didn't know about these matters early yesterday morning because she was on the airwaves reiterating her confidence in Alan Shatter. So you must feel very exposed at this point, Minister, or do you? Through each catastrophe, you stood by Alan Shatter, when at times when I'm fairly sure that you knew that his number was up and that it was a crisis too far and the damage being done to An Garda Síochána and public confidence was getting too deep and too serious. But you stood by him shoulder to shoulder. You rallied around him regardless. So what do you think now, Minister? Do you now accept that Alan Shatter had to go? And had it been your...
Deputy, not listening to me. You're over time, way over time.
Had it been the Labour Party's call, would you have waited for Alan Shatter to make up his own mind? Or would you finally have run out of rope and seen finally that he should stand down?
Thank you. Minister.
I never cease to be amazed at the warm affection and concern, the motherly concern that you express for the well-being and the future of the Labour Party. I cherish it deeply and know that we are well liked and that we are minded by you, and that therefore we will, if we ever begin to go somewhat astray, you will, in a careful way, look after us. I think we should all wait until we actually see the report that Mr. Guerin has written. That's been currently redacted. At his request, because he's a senior counsel. And many of the speculative questions, which we all have in this House, will then be answered. The report's going to be published tomorrow morning. It will be in the public domain. Many of the questions and the reasons that people did things as they did, specifically Alan Shatter, I think will become more clear when that's reported and when it's published. There will be a debate in this House. The Taoiseach said yesterday, in I think a response to the leader of the Fianna Fáil party, that there will be a debate, not necessarily next week because it may be premature. Maybe we should all read the full report. It is 300 pages. But that's a matter for the whips, and that can be discussed. But I think let the report be published tomorrow. Let people read it. that many of the questions that, quite frankly, none of us can answer. I certainly can't answer. And they're the speculative questions that I would expect deputies in opposition to ask. But I'm not going to give a speculative response. That's not fair to anybody. That's the report we published. Let there be clarification to many of the issues that have been asked here and elsewhere. And then next week, depending on what happens with the whips, we can have a debate on it, as the Taoiseach indicated yesterday.
Deputy McDonald,
Sure,
1 minute.
If you think that referring to me as a mother or motherly to the cackles of your almost exclusively male audience would go down well with me, or mothers who might be watching and you're very wrong, don't appreciate the tone of that remark. You were kept in the dark. You were kept in the dark on the issue of the Guerin report. No, I know a sexist undertone when I hear it, Deputy Stagg. I'm long enough around to know it.
Can we get back to leaders' questions? Thank you. Sorry, but time is... You were kept in the dark. I have plenty to say, Deputy Stagg, and if you would do me the courtesy of allowing me to say it, I would appreciate it. Thank you. Please. So you were kept in the dark as a party, although the Taoiseach isn't here to confirm that fact in respect of Guerin and the stepping down, the resignation of Minister Shatter. Tell me, do you know whether or not government has yet received the Cook report? Do you know that? Will you, when you get to your feet, let me pose my initial question differently to you. Perhaps I was a bit clumsy in my wording. Do you now accept that the catalogue of events, the treatment of the whistleblowers, the controversy around the bugging of GSOC, the bugging of telephone conversations to and from Garda stations. Thank you, Deputy.
Alan Shatter's resolute position of denial around all of the above. Do you now accept that that was the wrong position to take, that it was a bad call on the part of government and on the part of your party, the Labour Party? Do you accept that Alan Shatter really had no option but to stand down? And shouldn't the Taoiseach, or even the Taoiseach, have made that very clear to him?
Thank you. Minister.
What I do accept is that this government has moved with extraordinary alacrity to deal with these matters in a united way. That on the 27th of February we set up the Guerin report, given it 8 weeks in which to reply, and Mr Guerin has done so, give or take a few days. It will be published tomorrow. Previous administrations set up public inquiries that lasted for 14 years, cost the taxpayer fortunes, and produced results which were of a different kind. We want, as a government, because this is an important matter, and I know that every deputy in this House and every senator in the other House share our concern, we want to get to the bottom of the various allegations and statements that have been made on the basis of proper inquiries. And we have the Guerin report, which will be published tomorrow, which will provide, I believe, a lot more clarity than I could possibly give to you today. Secondly, and we will have the Cook report very soon, I'm told from the notes that I have here. Imminently is the phrase that's used. And when they're ready, we'll have a full discussion and we'll take whatever actions required to be taken as a consequence of that.
Thank you. Deputy Flanagan.